Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio on 8752 at the moment, Patricia and David. We actually have radar noise here. If it's bad with you guys, please let me know and we will move to 8297. Should be one of your pre-programmed channels, 8297. Let me know if there's any problems because it might get louder. I can probably cope with it here at the moment, but it is there. This is a lovely day here today, by the way, Friday, the 31st of August, the very last day of August. Amazing. I think that spring is sprung tomorrow. We have 12 degrees, actually it's 13 now, 2 knots from the westish, not much around, so it's sort of in that westerly quadrant, 1004.5 and steady. And it's clouding over a bit more now. It was quite clear before. It's about 25% cloud cover now. I'm going to pause to see if anyone can let me know what's going on at your end of the transmission here. Yeah, good morning, Felicity. What's it like at Nui? Over. Oh, that's good. And I've got you clear today too. Have you got a decent day in Nui? Over. Okay, we'll have David talking about Nui. He's just pointing it out to me. Yes, you're.
There's Nui, there's
Yep.
the trough.
There's the trough almost breathing down your neck, we see. So I guess you won't have a brilliant weekend, but I'm sure you'll find plenty to do in Nui. All right, sounds like it's still pretty decent and clear, but if there is any problems, let me know. And I'll just get on to some news here. The Bluff oyster season, it's the last day today. Not that we know anything about it up here, because we haven't had any bluff oysters in this part of the country for quite some time in our local shops. But the scallop season opens tomorrow, so that will, I'm never all that fussed on scallops compared to bluff oysters, but the scallop season does open tomorrow. There have been not great scallop finds in the last year or two, but I'm sure many of you who come to New Zealand regularly have your favourite spots. It's certainly very torrid on the scalloping front in the English Channel. I wonder if they still call it the English Channel, whether the French might have a word about that, but there is quite a scallop war going on in the English Channel. It's a bit unfair actually, and for my mind, I am certainly with the French on this one. But boy, are they at war with each other, the scallop boats. They had quite significant rammings and flares and petrol bombs, and one boat burnt and sunk. It's a tremendous war going on. It's actually very unfair because of the fact that the scallops are down in numbers. The French have restricted their fishing time between October 1 and May 15. So they're not allowed to fish for scallops at the moment, but the Brits don't have any restrictions, so their boats are there, and of course I guess they sort of do as much as they can before October 1, and so the French don't end up with much. And we're talking about 20 k's off the Normandy coast. It's pretty much in French territory. So they're trying to sort it out, but I would have to think that the Brits are going to have to stand down because it seems very, very unfair for the folk in Normandy trying to get these scallops. Did you have something?
Yeah, I have a question for you marine biologists out there. Now, a scallop in its early days is a free-swimming embryo. So they may speak with a British accent. Just because they hang onto a rock near Normandy doesn't really mean they're French.
Well, I think a little bit of study will have to go on about that one. Let's move on to something more significant. Russia are about to hold a huge military exercise. And when I say huge, we're talking 300,000 troops, 1,000 aircraft, 2 Navy fleets, the Pacific Fleet and the Northern Fleet with all their airborne units. It will be held this month, September 11 to 15. So I imagine we will get worse than a little bit of radar. We'll probably get quite a lot of radar noise. China and Mongolia are going to participate. It's called Vostok 2018, which is East 2018, similar to the one that they had in the West a few years ago. So a huge military exercise to show the world that they should not be, well, that they are a force to be reckoned with. Swedish folk out there, and I know we have some Swedish folk listening because there's a few people that are listening on, well, from Sweden, probably finding out what's going on the streaming. So, in fact, good morning to you folk on streaming. We seem to be having a decent day today on it. H&M, the big Swedish company, have opened today another store in Auckland that's right down the bottom of Queen Street. For those of you in the past who have been in Queen Street, it has had a significant revival over the last couple of years. It used to be you thought you'd arrived in Beijing, but now there's some beautiful stores in Queen Street and it has tarted itself up rather well, so long as you've got the pocketbook to go with it. It's right at the very bottom of Queen Street in a huge new building development. They're the only ones that are open to H&M, so that will give people somewhere to go away from the building that's going on around them. New Zealand, back to news here, has set a goal of being predator-free by 2015. And in fact, there's quite a bit going on in our area with what they call rat lines in different areas where it's possible to have a lot of people along the street, for example, or across the peninsula as it is here, with rat traps and the like, all in a drive to become predator-free. But as part of this, there is a growing drive to ban cats. And this actually made it to the Guardian in the UK newspaper. There are various councils want them to be all microchipped, and when they die, no more. So needless to say, the cat lovers are up in arms about that. But certainly they're trying to increase the native population of birds, and cats aren't exactly helpful in that respect. Getting back to what we talked about yesterday, BOM, that's the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia, and by the way, they've still got the same Prime Minister they elected last Friday, so he's lasted a week, which is really good. BOM have predicted a spring heat wave for the southern and southeastern parts of the country. So anybody going there, I hope you've got a water maker on board. These are the areas, of course, that are very badly hit at the moment with drought. New South Wales, on average, has had less than half their rainfall this winter, so I don't think they'll be very impressed that there's going to be a heat wave during the spring. Moving to Asia, South Korea has banned coffee products in schools. They're trying to tackle anything with high calories or caffeine in it. They have a weight problem, pretty similar to the New Zealand problem, with kids at school, so I'm not sure what the caffeine's got to do with it. I think they were finding them getting a bit affected and strange acting with too much coffee. They have a lot of drinks.
Maybe they have croissants with coffee.
Croissants with coffee? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to get onto something with something strange in a minute. There's a new Chinese, talking about Asian stuff, there's a new Chinese restaurant opening in Parnell here in Auckland for the lovers of Chinese food. It's very, very different, not your usual sort of chicken and dumplings and all that sort of stuff. The chef owner is the grandchild of a man who was Mao Zedong's chief chef for 20 years. It's going to be a 6-star, I didn't know you could do 6 stars, but anyway, it's going to be a 6-star degustation menu. You need a lot of money for it because it's in excess of $170 per person. It's called Red Wall 1939, and my history is not too good, but if anyone can tell me what happened in China in 1939, that might explain the name of the restaurant, but it sounds as if it's going to be rather special. It's in Parnell, which is a very pretty part of Auckland. Don't know where you'd actually get to park if you live there. You have to walk from somewhere. Now, we've had a few, if you're wondering why there's a lot more restrictions on yacht movement there's been 2 more cocaine busts in the last week. Not in this part of the world, but well, not that I know of, but these are in the UK. The one that was reported today was a very significant quantity of cocaine seized from a catamaran just off the Cornwall coast. 5 men were arrested, and last week there was a Dutch boat in a similar arrest situation, the sailing yacht Marcia. So they have evidently what's called, I'd be interested to know what the training is, the National Deep Rummage Team. And the National Deep Rummage Team goes aboard and is trained to find all the hidden places on board a yacht. Actually, there's a few missing items on our yacht that we could get them to come and investigate.
Well, you lose things here
Yeah,
all the time.
I could lose things anywhere, but you know how difficult it is with, a lot of people have wondrous records of what's where, and you start off like that, but then you move things around when you're trying to find things or take things out and use them and replace them with something or other else. So maybe they could get when they're not busy looking for drugs, they could actually look for something else when contracted to do so. Anyway, that's the news of the day, a bit of this and a bit of that. I'll just have a pause to see how that radar noise is going, and if there's anything from anybody, please let me know.
Malua.
Well, you're coming in well, Harry. How's the trip going? Go ahead.
Trip's going very well indeed, thank you. Wind on the beam, looks like it'll continue for a day and a half and then drop out completely. The noise comes and goes, but we can hear you very clearly indeed. Over.
Oh, that's excellent. So, yep, I'm just looking, and yes, you're following on behind that trough. So, good conditions for the boats heading from New Caledonia to Fiji. A beam reach. Wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Easterlies on Saturday.
Easterlies on Saturday. So, sounds pretty good for the weekend, Harry, and a very good signal from you. So, we'll continue here, although I see Villamia reporting that it's hard to hear in the marina. Just as well we've got streaming. And by the way, folks, if you are using streaming, you will probably need, as of next week, to go to streaming directly from our website, www.ghradio.co.nz. There will be some changes on the YIT site, which has separated from Gold Harbour Radio. So if you need streaming, then just get it directly from our site here. Up there in the marina in Fiji, it's 15% cloud cover with a light southerly. So they're going to be heading out to do some shopping. Well, that's what I'm going to do today too. All right, is there anybody else before I pass the microphone?
Yep.
Sarani, and you're on your way too, Alison, and the noise has started up here. But go ahead, over. Say it again, it's just stopped. Okay, heading to Tanna. Actually, that looks rather a nice spot to be at the moment. The bottom of New Caledonia looks rather good. So, and I think you're going into Lenakai rather than down the bottom. So, yep, well, David will be talking about things in a minute. So, not specifically that. Just repeat the miles to go. Over. Oh, good. Got it that time. They calmed down. 125 miles to Tanna for, that's a bit of a nuisance. We'll see how you go.
Where are they coming from?
They're coming from down at Kuto. All right. Thank you for that. Got that from Sarani. And I'm going to pass the microphone now to get the update. And a fairly full one it is today to cover you through the next 2 days when we are slacking off. Here's David.
Okay, good morning. And to cover the weekend, we're going to start with today's 500 millibar analysis. Now, our shortwave trough is over New Zealand. It's right leaning now. So you'll recall that we we tend to talk about the axis, whether it's left-leaning or it goes basically north-south or it leans to the right. And that all has some significance. We'll talk about that another time for those that are interested, but it has to do with the intensity of the surface conditions depending upon the lean. Anyhow, the ridge is just to its east. Now in the Tasman, we've got it's another 500 ridge with the next shortwave trough approaching Tasmania. So again, they're one after the other. Now by Sunday, this trough is going to be over the Tasman with the next surface depression underneath, and the cold front is going to be extending toward New Caledonia. Doesn't reach New Caledonia on Sunday, but it's heading up in that direction. The axis of this trough is going to be roughly 165 east, 165 east. Now by lunch today, the ridge to the east, the eastern 500 ridge, is going to build the surface high underneath to an amazing 1040, 1040. That's 1040 millibar. That's a monster. Now the upper shortwave trough, that's just to the west, that is supporting two depressions. One is just to the east of Cook Strait, and the other one is just west of Taranaki on the west coast of the North Island. Now there is a very, very vicious squash zone between New Zealand and the eastern high, that big monster high that's to the east. Surface winds are gale force, and they're running up and down 175 west, which also happens to be the approximate axis of the cold front that's arcing up to Fiji. Now by this evening, the front is going to affect Tonga Tapu and probably the rest of Tonga by Saturday. Now those of you in Niue look to be affected by a prefrontal trough late today, I would say, and you will see fresh northeast winds. Now following this will be the main trough, and you need to pay attention to this, I think. Now it's possible, and I put that in quotes, not definite but possible, that the winds could turn a little bit to the north and then maybe to the north-northwest and maybe even northwest. And this is, if it happens, and it's just a small chance that it could happen, that would be Saturday, tomorrow afternoon. And that would make your anchorage a little bit exciting if that's the case. But it's not going to last long if it happens at all. So I think as that trough continues east, these winds are probably going to veer to the northeast, which is going to be fine for your anchorage there. But this is very hard to predict, so stay alert for Saturday, sorry. By Sunday, there still looks to be convective activity up in the Niue area, but the winds are going to be shifting to the southeast or east-southeast, and then on Monday, probably easterly. So those of you that want to make a run to Tonga, it looks like Monday, Tuesday would be an opportunity to do that. No problem at all from what I can see. And speaking of Tonga, as mentioned, Tonga Tapu gets the good news of the approaching trough today, and that should spread up to the north to affect the group as the day rolls on. Now, winds today, northerly quadrant, 15 to 20, but obviously higher in rain showers. And by Saturday morning, northeast winds are going to be clashing with southeast winds, and that will maintain troughing conditions for Tonga. Now, late Saturday, the group should see southeast winds. All of the group should see southeasterlies. And Sunday, easterlies about 15 to 20. And these easterlies will prevail Monday and probably Tuesday as well. So there you go for Tonga. And by the way, that big high that's to the southeast, the one I mentioned earlier, that does play a bit of a villain role for Niue and Tonga. Those islands being on the northwest corner of this big monster high. And by now you know what that means. Okay, before we get to Fiji, looking up in the deep tropics, our Solomon's Trough is still present and accounted for, as is the trough over Rotuma. And actually it broadens out. It winds up gathering Wallis and Futuna. It runs just to the north of Samoa and then east to east-southeastward from there. Okay, now to Fiji, where the front does extend up from the south, as we've been talking about. It is finally reaching southern Fiji. Now there is a secondary band. I'm looking at satellite imagery as we speak, and that is affecting Vanuatu and the northern Lao. And so therefore, for Fiji, expect basically cloudy periods, scattered showers, rain in some areas, but you know, there isn't all that much in this system. We've been talking about this system, all week. It's sort of a letdown as a meteorologist for me, but I am sure that you all are very happy that there's not much in this thing. Anyhow, tomorrow looks mostly fine for the group. So this trough will have moved off, it looks like, at least from what I could determine. And the winds are going to be mostly southeast in the 15-knot range. And on Sunday, they'll back to become easterlies, probably about 10 to 15, tending maybe east-southeast. And then on Monday, easterlies, just like Tonga. Easterlies for Monday, and they'll be around 15 knots, give or take on that. So not too bad for Fiji. Just today and a little bit of tomorrow doesn't look so red hot, but then it's okay. Now Vanuatu still has the remnants of the trough over the group. What's left runs mainly through the central group early this morning on imagery. Now the loop itself, the satellite loop, looks like the trough is drifting north just a wee bit. So expect light showers in the south and the central areas, and then moving northwards a little bit later today. Luganville and Port Vila, you should see some light showers sometime today. However, down in the Tanna area, just partly cloudy conditions, not too bad. So the winds today at lunch, southeast about 15 to 20. Now west of Malakula and Santo, not right along the coast, but west if you're further out. And I don't know why anybody would be further out, but the winds are strong out there. They're up to 25 knots. But there is lighter air in closer and lighter air for Saturday. And I'm looking at east to east-southeast for the north and northeast winds for the south. And those northeast winds, well, I see another trough on Sunday for the southern areas of Vanuatu. They may affect all of Vanuatu on Monday. Again, the clue is that shift to northeast winds. Okay, New Caledonia. Wow, that looks pretty good today. Light air for the lagoon, south-southeast to 10 knots. Saturday, quite light, less than 10 knots, variable conditions. The winds could be anywhere, really. The same on Sunday, variable conditions. The wind strength maybe 5 to 10 knots. Later on Sunday, it looks like southwest, getting up to about 10 knots, and that continues on Monday. So enjoy the great weekend. We may very well see a change next week, looking at the shift in the winds. So enjoy the weekend while you can. Well, that's the big picture for now through the weekend. Now, long range shows more troughs coming next week. So stay tuned on Monday when we're back for future developments. Should be some exciting things come Monday. So there you go. I'll pass it over to Patricia, the chief here, who's got a few things. And any questions or comments from now.
It's amazing what makes them excited. This weather stuff. I hope your blood pressure's all right. Okay, is there any question that he didn't answer or any further information needed? We have got the radar, so we might have a bit of a struggle, but try anyway. No, nothing heard. So if there is nothing heard, well, I better find out if there were any relays with any questions in case I didn't hear whoever might have asked. Any relays? Maybe they can't hear anything up there, so I hope that wasn't wasted. Oh well, we'll just have to hope that something went out. It's always a bit of a disappointment when we hear nothing from you folk because we don't know whether there is an absolute whiteout or not. It would be good to get some feedback. All right, we don't need any feedback tomorrow and the next day because we won't be here, and back again on Monday. Have a very good weekend, everybody. This is Gold Harbour Radio, and we are clear. The frequency's all yours.